The life of Aminata Diallo through a feminist lens. Aminata was born in the village of Bayo, Africa in 1745. Aminata had strong relationships with both her mother and her father. This helped to influence any further relationships she would have in her future. Aminata's mother taught her how to catch babies at a very young age. They would often travel to villages together to do so. Aminata's father was very supportive of her desire to learn how to read and write. He taught her many religious phrases that became important in her life later on. After Aminata's parents were killed and she was taken by slave catchers, she was made to walk from her home of Bayo to Banks Island, where she would be taken across the Big River. On this walk, she met Chikura. This relationship with Chikura was significant, as it was the first one Aminata had had with a boy who was her age. Upon the slave ship, Aminata had her first exposure to a man using and attempting to use her own body for sexual purposes. This is a significant moment through a feminist lens, as it shows the relationship during this time between men and women. Once she arrived in America, Aminata was sold for a very little price because she was not only weak, she was also a child, and she was a woman. Therefore, she was seen as less valuable. Upon arriving at the Appleby plantation, Aminata met Georgia, who became a mother figure in her life. This is significant because not only is this another strong female character in the novel, but also it's another strong female role model for Aminata's life. Georgia helped restore Aminata's health and taught her the ways of living in the United States, as well as living on the Appleby plantation specifically. Aminata and Chikura were reunited, and not only were they married, Aminata also became pregnant with Chikura's child. Became enraged that Aminata was finding ways to live a life that was not managed or controlled by him. He very cruelly and inhumanely asserted his dominance by shaving Aminata's head and ridiculing her in front of the entire plantation. In addition, once Aminata's child was born, Master Appleby sold it for a profit, with very little regards for Aminata's feelings. Aminata lost her will to live, her desire to work, and her ability to cooperate. She was therefore sold to the Lindos. Aminata moved into the Lindo home, where she formed a strong relationship with Mrs. Lindo, who taught her how to read further, and Mr. Lindo, who taught her the ways of finances, file keeping, and how money worked. Upon the death of his wife and his child, Mr. Lindo grew cold and neglectful towards Aminata. These feelings of sadness then turned to anger and hatred. He then became physically violent with Aminata. Feeling guilty of his actions, Mr. Lindo invited Aminata to join him on a business trip to Manhattan, New York. In New York, Aminata met Sam Francis. He owned a tavern in Manhattan and became another strong relationship within Aminata's life, as he helped her escape into the woods as Mr. Lindo traveled home during the height of the build-up to the war. This made Aminata a free woman once more. In New York, Aminata set up her home in Canvastown, along with the other free Negroes. She was once again reunited with Shakira, where they conceived another baby. As well, Aminata was asked to write the Book of Negroes, which is a documentation of all of those in Canvastown who were to move to start a new life in Halifax. Shakira took a separate ship, supposedly going to Halifax, than Aminata did. The ship crashed, and Aminata would never see Shakira again. She was unaware of this for some time. Once in Halifax, Aminata's relationship with Daddy Moses grew strong. He became a father figure in her life. This relationship was significant as it was a relationship between a male and a female, which was extremely strong. In addition, Aminata and her daughter May trusted Mrs. Witherspoon and her family, as Mrs. Witherspoon had provided Aminata with work and grew a very strong liking to May. This trust was betrayed when Mrs. Witherspoon took her child without telling her. Aminata also found out about the death of her husband, leaving gaping holes in her life. It is at this time that Aminata decided to move with other Africans to Freetown in hopes of being able to return home. They set up a developed village. However, Aminata was never truly happy because they were so close to Banks Island. She wasn't able to return home, and she had no family to share this life with. Aminata soon became a storyteller in Freetown and shared tales of her life and her journey thus far. This fulfilled a life dream of hers, and she felt connected to her existing culture. Aminata tells her story from London in 1802, where she writes a memoir discussing her stories and her life. Aminata is also reunited with her daughter May and helps the abolitionists in their cause to end slavery and slave trade all over the world. One specific abolitionist by the name of John Clarkson gains Aminata's complete trust, and she asks him to take care of her daughter once she is gone. Aminata is able to die at peace, knowing she's produced a better world for her daughter than the one she lived in. Aminata's story ends with her drinking mint tea, which is a true connection to her home, her family, and her culture. The Book of Negroes not only depicts strong female characters, but it also describes the varying relations between the sexes. It is for these reasons that we decided to analyze Lawrence Hill's novel through the lens of a feminist.